everyone. We are so excited about our webinar today. It is all about video analysis and video recording and just lots of great conversation around this new technology that we are finding at CourtReserve is extremely important to all of our clubs in the tennis, the pickleball, the badminton, the padel, all of our racket sports space. So my name's Ashley, welcome. And I'm here with David from Save My Play and Kevin from Rex up in Oregon. Thank you guys so much for coming on board.
Thanks for having us.
Pleasure to be here, Ashley.
Absolutely. Great. All right. Well, as we slowly let people into the call, just know that today's webinar is being recorded. At some point today, we'll throw it up on the CourtReserve YouTube channel. And I'm sure that you guys are going to have a lot of great questions for both David and Kevin. David from Save My Play, and then Kevin from the club perspective about how he's using Save My Play at his club. So go ahead and feel free to put those questions in the Q&A, and we will answer those questions either throughout the webinar or towards the end. So welcome again. We're going to go ahead and get started. So David, you came up with this brilliant idea of Save My Play. So take us through the vision and where did this come from?
Thank you. First of all, I appreciate that. Yeah, it came from, I'm a tennis player. I live in New York City. I always tell the story. One of my favorite places to play, well, there's a bunch of places, a bunch of CourtReserve facilities, but one of them that I was playing in a lot was Central Park. And what happens there is you're basically playing like minute to minute. Like you can't go a minute over, you can't start a minute late. Like they give away record. It's super, super strict. And I would always want to record myself, like when I play tennis. So I would be setting up my camera, taking 5 minutes out of our hour reserve playing time, and my friends would like yell at me, be like, what are you doing, like. And then afterwards, the thing is I get amp footage because like my camera would fall a little bit, and then I would have to edit like 2 hours of footage every time we play tennis just to find like a few highlights. So it was really kind of a process. So I'm like, there has to be a better way. Like I just want to walk into a facility and not have to do any work to get a recording or see my highlights. And I wanted it to be an efficient solution, something simple, no work for the player, but also no work for the facility, was the vision too.
That's amazing. So did you actually, like, is your background in engineering? Is it in cameras? Like, tell us a little bit about your background.
Yeah, so I've been an engineer by trade my whole life, and an amateur athlete in tennis, table tennis. So I kind of just built it for myself. I play at National Tennis Center too a lot. I always had trouble recording myself there. That was a CourtReserve facility that I was like, oh, cool. Like I wish there was a way to just get my recording. So that's kind of how it came to be.
Okay, that's awesome. So tell me a little bit, because I don't know the story of how you actually got to know Tim, because you and Tim had a couple conversations before I even knew who you were. So tell me about that.
Yeah, this is a true story. I swear. Like I think maybe a week or two after we launched, I just emailed CourtReserve support because every facility I played at used CourtReserve. So I was like, that makes the most sense. I'll email them. Probably never going to hear back. And I heard back like right away. And Tim said, "Hey, love what you're doing. Like want to talk." And I was like, "Whoa, like that's pretty cool." And then we had a conversation just right away. He saw the vision, and he. Again, I'm not just saying a true story. He saw beyond kind of what I had seen at the time. Like we had a very limited feature set at that time. We didn't have live streaming. We didn't have some other stuff. And he was like, "Oh, live streaming is going to be big." And I was like, "I don't know." And he was absolutely right. And great product vision there.
That's awesome. So just to be clear with some of our friends on the webinar today, last April, Tim and I opened our own two-door indoor facility here in St. Augustine. It's called Old Coast Pickleball. And pretty much right away, David, you actually came to St. Augustine and helped us install the Save My Play cameras.
When there was no court.
There was no courts. Yes, before the paint and the nets. So you actually helped us. So we've been using it. And honestly, we use Old Coast as kind of a bed of, all the technology we want to try out for CourtReserve before we actually let it out. And so we've been using it since last April. And now with the new integration within CourtReserve, it's just exploded to our own player base for sure. So can you take folks who don't even really know what Save My Play does through like what it does, the benefits of it, all the functionality, high level, and then we'll kind of move from there.
Yeah, so the most basic functionality and the initial vision was a player could walk into your facility with basically no effort. We like to say within 10 seconds or less. Like is the measurement I use, be able to record their session. They don't have to, they don't have to download an app as the thing because they already have CourtReserve, and that makes it really easy. They could basically record their session, and then afterwards they're going to get an email that has their full session with the gaps removed, AI highlights, and all that cool stuff. It's really easy to share. We have some really cool AI sharing features too that help you create like reels. And then, we also have a lot of other features on top of that. Some of them are more like facility oriented, like we have events for like live streaming, which I know you and Tim use a lot at Old Coast. You were some of the best original, streamers. You use our feature where you could stream to YouTube. So that's,
Yes.
a popular one now. You were pioneers of that, which is now, we see it a ton for events. Yeah, so just a really simple, easy recording experience. Because the example like I always use is that no player is going into a facility saying like, oh, I want to try to figure out like how I'm gonna, record today. It has to be easy.
Yes. So I know at Old Coast Pickleball, we basically have two cameras. We put them up on the wall. Talk to me about the technology, that camera. Is it where people can buy their own cameras and use? Are these Save My Play specific cameras? Talk about that hardware.
Yeah, so we have our own really affordable proprietary camera, and I think the thing that's allowed us to grow so quickly, and it's also the way you use it at Old Coast, is the camera just needs to be plugged in to any normal outlet and connected to Wi-Fi. A lot of our competitors require really complex setups. You have to have like a server for a lot of them. You have to bring on premise. You have to wire them back to that server, and we work really, really well on Wi-Fi. So the setup is really easy. We've had places do actually early one of your hurls, like I remember Chris at Indianapolis, he did like 13 courts I believe in a day. He set them up. So we've seen some really, really quick setups. I know Kevin, you set yours up really quickly, I think also in a day, and probably yeah. Yeah, so that's one of the things that's important to us.
Wow. So if somebody was interested in like, moving forward with this, basically they would just contact you guys and based on number of courts, it's those cameras and you ship them out. I'm sure the days of you showing up and installing maybe a little bit less than a year ago because you guys are
Yep.
so popular now. So it's very simple to set up. It's a plug and play almost. And then if they're already using CourtReserve, the integration is something that they can just turn on basically and go.
That's it. You could have everything going like, easily in a day. I think so.
That's
Whole
awesome.
system.
So, talk to us a little bit. I know sometimes people are like, oh, well, how can, if I'm on a court with three or four other people, or maybe in a group setting, and I as a player want to record the session, maybe it's a class, right? Maybe it's an instructional class. What are the limitations or what are the safety parameters around the videoing of other people? I know for us at Old Coast Pickleball, we have a waiver that every human being that comes through the door signs, and it is a video, a picture, a social media. Like we're signing off on the ability to allow us to record you, to take your picture, to, all kinds of stuff. Have you had any issues with that?
I always say this, and I'm not lying. We have had no issues, but I think a lot of that is due to like the court reserve waiver, and we always encourage people to use that.
Mhm.
And I think it's pretty blanket, and I've never heard any complaints to be honest.
Yeah. And just to throw it out there, you have to have your own waiver. It needs to be by your state laws. But we have a general waiver people sign, and then we have that, social media, video waiver, the release basically that we ask people to do. I'll tell you from a live streaming standpoint, it is so cool. Tim, he'll go play in a pro men's night event, and I'll be here at home and I can turn on YouTube. And we have, Old Coast Pickleball Court 1 and Old Coast Pickleball Court 2 on YouTube, and I can just look for him and watch him play right from my living room. I know that that has been a great feature for us at Old Coast, especially just to kind of push the brand of Old Coast and St. Augustine. How have you found the live streaming for some of your other clubs, David?
Yeah, so I mean, as I kind of alluded to before, Tim was absolutely correct that live streaming is just massive. I mean, there's no other way of putting it. One of our biggest, I mean, the biggest tennis facility in the world that you power to is USTA National Campus. They're constantly streaming, 80 courts at once there with our system. So yeah, we have a lot of scalability, but they're all wired up like they have a really advanced infrastructure. But the thing I like to call out is you stream consistently on our Wi-Fi based cameras, and so does Kevin. He's streamed like some really cool tournaments because a lot of people think you can't do live streaming like on Wi-Fi enabled cameras, and that's absolutely not true. Like there's
Mhm.
you can do great quality streaming. You don't need a wired infrastructure necessarily. It helps in some cases, but yeah. So live streaming, we do sponsor logos. We do you could do scoreboards. So there's a lot of cool things you could do with it, and we're seeing it become almost a requirement now for like really compelling events and tournaments.
I love on the YouTube channel as well where we can put our logo and stuff. So it's a really cool if somebody through St. Augustine's looking for pickleball, they might pick us up and then find us as a business that they can come spend money in, which is really important. So, all right. So Kevin, from a club aspect, tell us a little bit about your club, how long you guys have been around, and what your experience has been from a club owner's perspective with Save My Play.
Yeah, thanks, Ashley. So REX, which stands for Recreate, Exercise, Compete, Socialize for Critical Human Experiences. Pickleball is a flagship sport. We've been open now for almost 3.5 years, and we're in Portland, Oregon, opening our second club in August, and then we're close to a few more leases. Each club will be a little bit different, but
Okay.
every club will have Save My Play cameras. This is something that is just like going to be part of the non-negotiable brand user experience that we have for our members and for our visitors. So, we have 9 cushioned indoor courts at our current club. We'll have future clubs a little bit smaller, some quite a bit bigger, some padel coming as well. We'll have Save My Play cameras set up for those. And I found out about Save My Play when Tim actually knew that we were considering adding a camera system. This is maybe back shortly after he was introduced to David and received that email from David. And he told me about Save My Play, and thank God, because we were about to probably make a pretty bad financial decision. And finding David and Save My Play really was incredible because the startup costs were extremely reasonable, and David was incredibly hands-on when it came to just responsiveness with helping us get the camera set up, getting it going. The learning curve was much shorter than I thought it was going to be. I think that, like in the same way I was saying before our call, we feel like we're using 80% of CourtReserve's capabilities, or maybe it's 50%. There's so much more for us to learn still about CourtReserve and all the functionality you guys have with Save My Play. There's still functionality and features that have yet to activate that I'm so excited to do so. But we have cameras on every court, and then 2 of our courts we have kitchen cameras as well. So we have 9 courts, but 11 cameras up in our club.
That's amazing. So, have you found that once members or players at your facility found out that they could do this, what was their excitement around it or their experience with it, and how has that helped your members at your club have a better experience?
Yeah, I mean, it was incredible. I mean, we've been it's over a year and a half almost that we've had cameras up. I was kind of waiting for the integration, knowing that was probably coming, to really drive the adoption and get people using. But we had QR codes on every court, so people could scan the QR code and quickly, start recording their games. And it's been, our members are thrilled. Visitors are thrilled. They can't believe how easy it is.
Hmm.
And their only complaint is, wow, when I go back and watch my footage, Kevin, I really thought I was going to look a lot better than I do. We've all had that experience.
Yes.
It can be very humbling. Like, hey, wait a minute, is it playing at half speed? But of course, it's not. But everyone is thrilled, and we have so many members that are using it in different ways as well. Whether it's just trying to capture the last point, or some using it for more instructional purposes. Some that are using it just because it's just a part of what they do now. It's part of their routine. Every time they come in and play, it's so easy for them to record their game.
Yep.
So yeah, we have a lot of people that are extremely excited about it. And every time we have feedback, we share it with David. He's like, awesome. He's logging that. He's looking at these as feedback to be acted upon, and so he's constantly iterating and improving the product and the service, which is a true entrepreneur solving a problem, listening to his customers, and making it better.
Yes, I would agree completely.
Thank
Anytime,
you.
especially in the beginning. Yeah, David, I mean, you guys have done a great job, and I love the communication that we can have with you and your team too, because even before, we decided to do this integration at CourtReserve, when Tim and you were first you and Tim would go back and forth about the product and making, things a little bit tweaks and better and all this stuff. And so we feel like we're the same way at CourtReserve. We want to do the things our customers love. And so thank you for sharing that same culture with us as well. Kevin, have you found that, sometimes at Old Coast, we'll have people who maybe want to, have a lesson or use it as an instructional part of what they're doing in their game. Have you found that at Rex yet, or is that to come?
Yes, so this is one area that we need to flip this switch. Our
Mm,
instructors are extremely excited about it. I think it's probably better if David kind of speaks to what is possible on the
mm.
instructional side, because I know that you've been evolving this. But we have 11 fixed cameras, and then David, you've also sent a couple non-fixed cameras, and the capabilities here are really incredible. And I think that this is going to be for us the next step of what it means to incorporate Save My Play into our clubs and provide value for our members.
Yeah, David, go ahead and talk about the instructional piece of this and how a club can use that for their members as well.
Yeah, Kevin kind of hit it on the head. We've been adding more functionality like that, even lately. So just go over a few of the things we have. So, we have a tablet experience for coaches where they're able to kind of annotate voiceover footage in real time, either like, on the court, side of the court, after the lesson with the student. So that's one way, the tablet kind of experience we have. But then we also actually just launched something. So now on any of the videos taken in your facility, so you both have access to this. It just launched within the last like few days. You could kind of open that tablet experience on the computer if you want to like do it on a video that's already been recorded. So you can annotate it, voice it over, and it'll actually drop it right into the player session that they already had, so they could get that instruction after. Um, and then I'll just quickly say we have a third tool now that has also been really cool. It's more of like an asynchronous like commenting feature. So a coach could actually go on the video, write some comments, and point to a specific frame in the video of where the comment applies. They could also create like a loop. So they could basically say start, like if you want to show like a forehand or something, you could say start, end, and then the player could click through that, see exactly what forehand they were referencing, and they could even reply to the feedback and get feedback in that way too.
Wow, we have so much to learn, Kevin.
Well, and as a club owner, of course, I have to ask the question, David, what could this look like from a monetization standpoint, right?
Mm.
So on this instructional piece, there's huge value to this. And if we have instructors who can receive these videos and they're sitting at home on their couch and making notes and recording, like how does that look on the monetization side?
Yeah, it's a great question. So we have places monetizing just like that, where they'll charge for like a review from the coach to kind of annotate with those comments. We have places that'll even just charge to do like a lesson recording.
Mm.
If you want your lesson recording, like full, lesson recording, then sometimes they'll throw in like the analysis with like, the tablet. So there's a lot of different ways of doing it, but we're definitely seeing like, the recording of lessons is growing pretty rapidly.
That's a great idea. So we have a couple of questions that I'd like to go ahead and just kick around. Some folks are asking like, where's the video stored? How long is it stored for? How long will the video last? Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So we have a hybrid model of storing the videos. It basically it doesn't all go to the cloud unless someone's recording. So it's a really efficient way of doing it, which is why we work so well on Wi-Fi. And then I see right here like the question was about like kind of power and close to the court. Yeah, so if you don't have power right near the court, it's usually okay. We actually have pretty thin wires that we give now with the cameras on request that could run up to 300 feet. So if you
Wow.
have an outlet, that far, it could actually power it, and then you just need Wi-Fi. So we've done actually a number of setups like that lately. If you reach out to us about setup and your specific setup, we're happy to advise. and figure out how to do it. We could set up almost any place.
Wow. So outdoor, indoor, both the cameras are for outdoor and indoor, right?
Yep,
And
we have
then
both.
something that comes to mind is security, right? Can folks use Save My Play as far as security for their club goes?
Yeah, so we're seeing that become really popular because very few places want to put, a player facing camera like ours and a security camera like on the same court because it's, two cameras that are doubling up. So we offer pretty good security functionality. If there was an incident that occurs, you could look back, you could review it and everything. We have a look back period, and it's also a really secure way of doing it because it's not sending everything to the cloud. It's only like on demand. And yeah, that's been pretty good for clubs. We've had incidents reviewed, anything from theft, like little theft, but then to like bullying and like incidents of that, which I think is really, good to
Wow.
see that it helps with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. For the video waivers, do you have every new member who creates an account sign it alongside the general waiver? I will say for Old Coast Pickleball, they sign two waivers. Every person, they sign a general liability waiver and then they sign the release for the media. What about you, Kevin? What do you guys do?
We do it the same way as you guys. Yeah.
Okay.
So everyone, when they create a court reserve account,
Mhm.
they're signing those, and it's just, we do it right up front. Capture their
Yep.
payment profile, get the waiver signed. Let's just take care of it all right up front.
Yeah.
So do
Yeah.
it the same way as you guys.
Oh, this is a great question. So, any great marketing campaign ideas? What is the average uptake from members? So, I'll say from an Old Coast Pickleball, we actually did a lot of social media to our own players. You can go on the Old Coast Instagram account. We have a great marketing person. Her name is Michelle. She did some great videos. We've talked about it a lot. Of course, anytime that we go out to the club and we're playing with club members, we're always like, hey, let's record it so we can send it to each other and watch Tim's around the post or whatever we want to do. I would definitely say that. What about for you guys, Kevin?
Yeah, we are now that the integration has taken place, we've kind of just been trying to drive adoption.
Mhm.
We're tiptoeing a little bit when it comes to activating some of the monetization. We're getting close to doing that now, where we're going to flip that switch. I know there's some conversations taking place between you guys and David around what that could look like on membership levels. We always encourage people to share their clips, make it social, tag us so we can share it.
Mhm.
We have a very robust digital marketing team that's paying attention to that. One thing I do want to make sure to mention is, as a club owner as well, and you talked a little bit about the live streaming piece. For us, it was really cool to see that we can add the logos. So sometimes we have the Rex logo on the live stream and just on the each camera. But we are also now selling that as part of a court sponsorship package, so
Ooh,
that you have the court is named after your business. So, Primo Real Estate has their, a court named after them. They have their banners up, but then their logo is also always attached to that camera feed. In addition to that, we've, can rename the court in Court Reserve, right? So you
yeah,
the court one is, has the name also of the sponsor. So being able to sell and monetize, because at the end of the day, as club owners, like, this is kind of a make money while you work business, and any
yes,
way that you can supplement that is really, really critical. And so some of this stuff, sometimes that money, that revenue in the margins can really make a difference at the end of the day. So we're always trying to find ways, and the value that's provided by Save My Play in a number of different areas allows us to do that and create differentiation with our competitors in our
that's right.
marketplace. So I wanted to make sure that I was able to mention that, because it was for the Oregon Men's Team Cup, Oregon Women's Team Cup, these two kind of regional events we host every year with all the best players from the Pacific Northwest. And then the Portland Pickleball League. We really were able to sell sponsorships using the sponsor logo that was dropped in there. And now those are videos that sit on our YouTube channel. They're evergreen.
Right. That's
We can
right.
go back and watch those and see what kind of traction that they were getting at the time. People chatting in the YouTube,
Yep.
stream. Like, it's really powerful to be able to do that.
I love that. That's a great idea. We actually sold the rights to our courts as well. And so it is extremely important. And I'll say too, at Old Coast, back before Christmas last year, we actually, for a whole month, we had send us your best clip. And our members of the club actually voted on the best clip from Save My Play
That's
that
cool.
members would send in. So you can use
Oh,
it a number of different ways to kind of announce it or get it out there or let people know. Um,
I'm stealing that. I'm absolutely stealing that. That is so
Good.
good. I love
That's
that.
right. That's why you
Yeah.
came today. Um,
Crowdsourcing,
yeah,
crowdsourcing content.
that's right. So another question, does the video run continuously, David?
Yeah, so that kind of wraps into what I was talking about before, where it's hybrid. So nothing goes to the cloud unless a player is actively engaging with the system. But the camera does store it locally. You can turn it off, but it stores it locally for security. So if
Okay.
you want to use, that functionality, it's motion activated for that.
Okay. Okay. Any current or planned AI game or play analysis or statistics in the future?
Yeah, so we have a great integration with PB Vision for
Okay.
analytics. So I think the best analytics kind of in the game, and then we have some cool things on our own with the gap removal built in natively, and also Instagram reel sharing is really cool.
That's awesome. Let's see. So this person already uses Save My Play and Court Reserve. So if I toggle on the integration, what exactly does that give to members? What do they see when they book? So basically, the integration just means that you can go in and once you toggle that on in Court Reserve, then on your Court Reserve app for your players can basically hit the Save My Play integration button. It shows up on their homepage, whether you have the branded mobile app or just the Court Reserve app. And that way they can go in and they can say what court they're going to be on and how long they want their recording. And then once that's set up, you can monetize it within the Court Reserve platform and it charges to their Court Reserve account as well. Any other things you want to say about that, David? I tried to make it as easy as possible.
No, I think that's putting it great. And I'll just say what I said before. And I think a lot of companies do get this wrong, that when a player goes into a facility, one thing they are not looking to do, in my opinion, is download another app.
Mm-hmm.
And I think why the integration works great is because you already have it within Core Reserve,
Right.
ready to use. A lot of like startups and places think, oh, everyone's going to love to download, my additional app right before they start playing, and that's not. I disagree with that.
Right.
So I think just the fact that they're able to seamlessly do it within the app they already have is amazing, and I'm excited because I play in a lot of Core Reserve facilities here, and it's just super easy.
I
I do
will
love
add
to.
that.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
Go ahead.
sorry. I was just going to say quickly, you guys, your teams did a great job with this integration because you open the app and it just pops up right there.
It
It's
does.
it's so easy to use.
Yeah, it is. It's right there in front of their face. So they have to at least see it and be like, what's this? I do know that I recorded a session. It's been a couple weeks ago. And I did the AI version where it was going to make everything look great. And it does take a few minutes for it to basically, capture and be able to be viewed. If I'm on the court and playing, David, can I watch this or do I have to finish the session before I can go back just on the phone, not on the tablet, but on the phone?
So yeah, if you're using like our coaching tablet or a
Mhm.
courtside tablet or whatever, you have instant replay
Okay.
capabilities. So it would
Okay.
not require that way.
So another question, how many cameras are required for each court to ensure adequate coverage? And we've already said this can be indoor or outdoor. For us at Old Coast Pickleball, we have a 2-court facility. We have one camera on each court. So we have 2 cameras, and that's been great for us. If you actually go out to the Court Reserve YouTube channel, you can see some of our past videos and kind of see the court coverage. What would you say about this, David?
Yeah, so one is definitely the default and standard. Like Kevin mentioned, we also do multi-camera. So, I'd say rarely for every court does a place do it, but sometimes for like a championship court, they'll do like a kitchen cam, which is cool because then you could watch both in sync, like, on the live stream, on the replay. We even have like instant replay capabilities where you could kind of analyze both angles. So it's cool for some things.
Yeah. Let's see the next. Can you download videos from the feed to your phone while on the court? No, the video has to finish processing, basically, right?
So there you can actually, well, you if you're doing the full session, it has to process, but you could also save individual plays
Oh, okay.
too.
Yes.
So you would be able, if you just wanted to grab a quick play, you'd be able to download that kind of right
Nice.
then and there.
Let's see, what other non-coaching monetization revenue streams are available? David, I'll let you take this one.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing a lot of them. I think Kevin possibly hit on one of the biggest ones with the court sponsorship, and I'll tell a true story that I heard like the other day. It's not just like going out when you're selling a sponsor; it's also retaining them.
Yeah.
So when you bring in, when you're looking to renew that court sponsorship, we've had facilities tell us like this sponsor was on the verge of canceling. They didn't know how much they were getting, but I showed them like they're going to get their logo in like all of our videos now. We've heard it save a few at least a few sponsorships from firsthand accounts. So I think that's a big one. The other thing that we should mention is you know in CourtReserve, the fact that you can monetize the game footage is great. And what we see for that is for tournaments, especially, is where people are really, primed to purchase, their footage for events and things. So it works really well for that. That's one of the ways. But yeah, definitely the lesson value added too is becoming a common way.
Yeah, for sure. We're getting so many questions. I hope we can get through all of them, but let's just go. We plan to have membership, social media liability. I guess she's talking about waivers. So definitely, get with your own attorney in your own state and come up with the best waiver for you. Let's see. Does it only record if you tell it before you play? We have a lot of players that only want the recording after something amazing has happened during a game and they want to rewatch it.
Yeah. So it's really funny. I'll just tell a really quick story. So we mentioned the security functionality, which we built
Yeah.
for security, but I'd say probably 75% of the usage is going back to get like a fun session or someone forgot to record, when they want
Yep.
their session. So the answer is yes. The facility manager could go back and get them that clip. It's easily downloadable. You could run the AI on it too. So it functions like the same way.
Okay. Okay, so let's talk about monetization because we've had a lot of questions about that. So basically, when we're talking about monetization, we are talking about, let's say I'm a player and I'm going to go to Old Coast Pickleball and I'm going to pay for my court rental of Court One. I can also pay for the ability to have my session recorded. And that will be charged, within my reservation as well. And so you can do it at the time of the, reservation of the court or the class or clinic or whatever. So that's how I think that we are going to do it at Old Coast Pickleball. We're not currently charging because we're just wrapping up this integration, making sure everything's good, and then we're going to turn on the monetization. So that means that I'm going to pay as a player, whatever that fee is to the club to record my session. So David, can you speak specifically how you're seeing clubs use this or monetize Save My Play to make revenue?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably the easiest, lowest barrier way. Just turning it on the per video cost, it works really well. I'd say when that's done, if that's the way it's going to be done, like you should definitely promote it. And like people are asking like how to promote it. I think we provided some great ways here with the contests and
Mm-hmm.
just branding, kind of or make people aware of it. I think that works well.
Can I
All right.
tack on a question to that quick?
Yes.
Can you guys talk a little bit about setting pricing at membership levels? That's something that I know we're really interested in. I think as we're launching network memberships here in the next month or so, we're going to flip this switch. But this is something that I know you guys have talked about, right?
Yes, we have talked about this. And in CourtReserve, we do a lot of things by membership type, and it's just putting that next. So this first integration with Save My Play is like version one. We're going to add additional features within CourtReserve. So you can add the ability for people to come in per membership level and charge. Maybe your premium members get it at no charge, but maybe your visitors have to pay $5 for every session recorded. And so we are going to be working towards that in the future for sure, because it's an important part of the value add that you can add to that membership where you want to get those members extra value in their facility for sure. So
I
yes.
love it. Sorry,
I think that'll be huge.
No, it's great. It's great.
I jumped the question queue, but that's the advantage of being
You
on.
get in, you get in. All right. Can we speak a little more on how using AI to evaluate the video is available, like stats showing unforced errors, backhands, forehands, returns of service?
Yeah, so like I mentioned, the PB Vision integration does that really well.
Okay.
So I'd recommend you could try that if you use it, but it's perfect for that.
Okay. How does the PV Vision work within the Save My Play experience, David?
Yeah, so you're able to basically get PV vision analysis on any play you record, through Save My Play. So
Okay.
any footage they get, they could have run through there and get, analytics too.
Nice, very nice. So people, there's a question about like, what does Court Reserve charge you to turn on the Save My Play integration? So it depends on, there's four buckets to, if you're not on legacy pricing anymore, there's four buckets and some of those include the Save My Play integration. So you'll just have to go out to Court Reserve or reach out to our support team and we can talk to you about what that cost is. David, how's your pricing? What does that look like for you guys at Save My Play? Just so we can be open and honest with these folks.
Yeah, so the one-time hardware cost for our camera is about $185 per camera. We
Okay.
have some volume discounts on that, but that's the base price. And then we do a per court service fee, which is somewhere it depends on volume, but it could be anywhere from like 30 to 49.
Okay. Very good.
And just one thing I'll just say there, that's for unlimited video and all, the monetization
Oh,
aspects
wow.
that we mentioned.
Okay.
And
Very good.
can I just add, if you're comparing this to the Save My Play competitors, you're right now you're going, are you serious? Like, this is incredible. David, you've created a very disruptive platform for those other companies. And if you're not taking advantage of this yet, you really should be.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
All right. So what does the integration with Court Reserve mean for the admin and the users? Well, it really doesn't mean a bunch because once you get the Save My Play integration set up and your pricing set up, there's not a lot extra that the admins and the users would have to do unless they're pulling video or something like that. Is that correct, David?
Yeah, there's very little to do, and you get a lot of functionality right out of the
Yeah,
box.
for sure. Let's see. Meaning Court Reserve charges one price for all courts. So basically, it's an integration fee. So if you, depending on what price bucket you fall in with what you're doing in Court Reserve, you would just pay one fee each month for the entire Save My Play integration, or you may not have to pay for that at all, depending on which bucket you fall into for sure. So, oh, this is a great question. How do we monitor usage analytics to show potential exposure for court sponsorships? Mm,
That's a great question. So we have some tools kind of built in to provide analytics. A lot of them are more so like on the live streams. We're able to provide like viewership data for various live streams, even like geographic data on those. But we are working on building out more analytics. It's definitely a good point. We hear it a lot, when attracting those sponsors. So we hear it. One other thing I'll say there though is most of the viewership of like well, not most, but a lot of it will come from social media sharing, which we can't really track exactly. For instance, we had like a TikTok post the other day that had over 1 million views from one of our facilities that was, shared by ESPN. So that, you'd be able to go on there
wow.
and, show that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Let's see. What is the tablet that you use, David, that you're referring to on court? Is there a specific tablet or is it a Save My Play hardware?
So for our tablets, we have kind of hardware that we sell kind of at cost to use for that, or you could use your own. We could, help you provision it.
Let's see. We have found that the time the player starts the recording to receiving the video takes a little bit of time. It's not instant. What is Save My Play doing to provide the video to players quickly?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, a lot of that is if you're using the AI, there
Hmm.
is some processing time with the AI. If we give you, and Court Reserve gives the option if you want it faster to kind
Yep.
of toggle that off. But and then we also like if you want it instant, you could live stream. So that's the other thing. You have the ability to do that. But yeah, I mean, AI processing will continue to get faster. But right now, and on average, AI is fairly slow, and the faster it is, the more expensive it is. So that's something to keep in mind.
Yeah, definitely. So somebody's having issues with the integration. We have it set up, but those paying for subscriptions, I would just reach out to support at Court Reserve and just see if we can help, or I'm sure we can help get David's team to help because it's pretty seamless. So I'm sure it's just something that we just need to tweak. Are the cameras relatively easy to move for seasonal clubs, like from outdoor courts to a bubble, for example?
Yes, great question. So we do seasonal plans too. So if you are seasonal, you could do that. But then we have a lot of places that move from outdoor to a bubble. All you do is you get our outdoor camera and it works fine indoors. So they're easy to move. You could basically move one of our cameras in like a couple minutes. So they're
Mm.
really easy.
Oh, this is a good one. If you charge a player for Save My Play video, do you still allow players to video their play with their own phones? Hmm.
It's an interesting question. I never suggest that people like don't allow it, but
Right.
we do have facilities that don't,
Sure.
and those facilities tend to monetize very well. I'll say.
What about you, Kevin? What do you think your policy would be?
Do we allow people to record their sessions with their own phones? Yeah, I mean, we don't see a lot of that. And because Save My Play makes it so easy that I think as soon as we educate the people that are using their phones about how easy it is to use Save My Play, they're like, oh, so I don't need to use my phone anymore. So
Yeah.
we don't disallow it, but we just don't really see it as an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a great way of putting it, and that's kind of the way I see it. I will say though, the places that don't allow people to record it is based on security. It's not because they want, people to use it like, or make money. And I think that's actually one of my favorite parts about the CourtReserve integration, because we kind of go from where we have a QR code, where anyone kind of in the facility can scan it, to where you have security options in CourtReserve, where you could say that only someone who checked in can record, which I think is really cool. So it
Mhm.
kind of opens up that possibility. And then at that point, it's like, okay, well now, there is a security thing, like, because, people are pretty much just recording their own court.
Yeah, for sure. So here's a great testimonial from Nick Dawson. He says, I love Save My Play. We have it on all of our courts and have installed tablets courtside for instant replay. Maybe mention this to everyone that David, you have this feature. It's really cool and players love it. Thank you, Nick. That's awesome.
Thank you, Nick.
That's
Appreciate that.
awesome. All right. There's a lot of like, how much does Save My Play cost, like monthly for the software for multiple courts? Where can they find out about your pricing, David?
Yeah, you could just email info@savemyplay.com, or there's the court reserve form. We're very transparent on pricing, but it is kind of court based, but it's the range. I just said we don't do anything different there. And then the other thing, I think, like court reserve, is we're month to month by default. And then if you want a further discount, we do annual. But I think that's another big thing between us and the competitors. We don't lock you into a contract,
We
which I
earn
think
your
is.
business every day. That's what we tell
Yep.
people. So we don't need
I
a
love that.
contract. That's right. We want to hug you every day. So and I know there's, people are like, well, what is this going to cost the player? I think you have to look at it from what the value that you're giving the player and what your players are willing to pay. In a big city, they might be willing to pay more than they are in a little country town like us, right? So I think that, and I'm going to screw this up, and Tim might kill me for saying this, but I think he was thinking about charging $5 for each session at Old Coast Pickleball, depending on the membership, which we don't have yet, right? But you just have to think about it in terms of the value that you're giving your players, how long the sessions are, and what you want to drive as part of revenue and value at your club.
Yeah,
What have
and
you
I
seen,
think,
David?
yeah. So it's a great question. And it depends, like, how much you can make, and like the cost and everything depends on the area, the demographics and everything. Like, we have some places that charge $20 an hour for footage, and they do great. But those are in certain areas.
Right.
But one of the things I'll say, kind of what you said, it's definitely something to think about whether to offer it as a value add, or charge for it. I know Nick, who just mentioned he has a beautiful new club in California. I know he offers it as like an amenity, which I think is great, and he has a ton of volume there. But then you also look at, like, you have like Pickle Rage, one of our joint customers. They
Yeah.
have us on every court, and they offer it as right now as a value add. So I think it's going to become more and more common also to be an amenity that people are going to expect.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see. Live stream. If they're not live streaming it to YouTube, David, is there a way for them to see the live stream later without sending it to YouTube?
Yeah, so our most common streaming functionality is through our platform. So
Okay.
you could basically create like a live stream event in like a couple clicks, and you could even schedule it now. So you could basically set up your live stream, send out the link, and do nothing. You don't even have to wake up for the event, and it will go. Everyone involved could watch it. So it's super easy, and all of our live streams are recorded by default too.
Nice, nice. Let's see. Ashley, can punch cards be set up to pay for Save My Play sessions? I'll put it on the idea board, Jim. That's a great one. I love that. All right. Well, we're going to wrap it up because we're already at quarter till of the hour. David, any last comments about anything that we haven't told people about the Save My Play integration and where they should reach out to you guys at?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say definitely just reach out to info@stayinmyplay.com. One of my personal favorite things to do is to help, facility owners and managers figure out how to bring a video system in. We'll help you with all the logistics, planning it all out. We love working with our clubs. Kevin, we met early on, and he's just been so, great to us. And we met so many great people. And yeah, we just want to help, make it successful and, yeah, get you some really cool tech.
That's awesome. And David, your team is possibly going to be at the Club Mastermind in June out in Salt Lake City, Utah. So
Yep.
any of those pickleball clubs that are going out to Club Pickleball Mastermind, you can find David's team there and spend some time with them there as well. Kevin, any last thoughts of anything from a club perspective that you want to tell folks?
I'm so excited about what you guys have done together. Thank you for making it so easy for club owners like me to introduce this to our members, and it's a huge value. I don't know when either of you sleep, and specifically David, it doesn't matter when I message him, I'll get a response within like 20 minutes,
Yeah.
text or email. I don't think David sleeps. It's pretty ridiculous.
All right.
Thank you for calling that.
That's awesome. Well, if you have additional questions, you can reach out to support@courtreserve.com. We're happy to connect you with either one of these guys if you need anything additionally from them. And we'll see you on the next webinar. Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks so much, both of you. I appreciate
Bye.
it.